Welcome to this first ever edition of Hawks Football Weekly. I'm your host, Brant Freeman. I am joined by the head coach of Canyon Lake, Charlie Drum, and we'll be visiting with you throughout the 2017 season. And Coach, looking forward to a great season of Hawks football.
Yeah, we are too. We're real excited. Got the scrimmages under our belt and, battling the heat the last 3 or 4 weeks. We're ready to get it on with Blanco coming up on Friday.
Well, this is your 6th season now as head coach of the Canyon Lake program. What kind of program do you feel that you've built now at Canyon Lake?
Well, I kind of built upon, I took over when Coach Monzingo took the AD job with the district, and I have installed an offense that kind of fit our personnel. It's a slot T offense, and it's built on toughness. And, we hit the sleds, 2 out of 3 days during the week. Even our quarterbacks, our receivers, they're hitting the sleds, cutting dummies. So we kind of preach toughness on both sides of the ball, not just linemen, but skill people as well.
Let's look back at what happened last year. Your team went 7-4. You were 3-1 in 14 4A play, good for second place. Made the postseason for the 4th year in a row as well. As you look back at last season, what stood out?
Well, a couple things. We had a 5-game winning streak. We played a 6A team for the first time, defeated Austin Aikens. And we're within about a minute and a half of winning the district championship, our first one. So that's definitely our goal this year. And we've never been past the second round. And so that's kind of our goal, to kind of kick that door in and play beyond, Thanksgiving and meaningful games in December.
Breaking down some of the numbers you had on offense a year ago, you averaged over 37 points per game in a slot T offense, which is predicated around the run. Now you lost your top rusher from a year ago, Austin Brennan, over 1,000 yards rushing, but 2 other rushers are back this season for you. Tanner Ferris and Micah St. John combined nearly 2,000 yards rushing. Your quarterback, Ben Fulton, is back as well. What expectations do you have for your offense this year?
Really pretty much the same, and even more, because more importantly, our offensive line pretty much stays intact. We're replacing our center, and that's it. And that's kind of where our offense is built on, is the offensive line. And, we got a bunch of 3-year starters, or 2-year starters, been starting since they were sophomores, coming back. We form a great nucleus for this team, a good senior nucleus.
You mentioned the offensive line. Now, Jacob Foster plays in the O-line for you. It's not very often that you see an offensive lineman named a district offensive MVP, but yet Foster was. Again, that's rarefied air there.
Yeah, and it was unanimous with all the coaches. He's been dominating the line of scrimmage the last couple of years. We brought him up as a freshman, and he started ever since the Wimberley game his freshman year. But he's a special player, and not only him, you got Joseph Crisp, Braden Height, and some of those guys that have been starting. They form a great nucleus, and our backs are excited to have them in front of them.
I bet they are. Other side of the football, defense, and also special teams, what are you looking forward to this year? Defensively,
we got a few more holes to fill. We're kind of switching up. We based out of a 4-3 defense the past 5 years, really the past 10 years since I've been there. And last year, facing so many spread teams, we a lot of times had to remove a linebacker, so we're basically basing out of that, and we're looking to fill some holes in the secondary.
Well, we're coming up on a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the 2017 schedule and the opponent coming up here in Week 1, the Blanco Panthers. This is Hawks Football Weekly, and we'll be right back.
Where Zaxby's is from. Some like it classic. Some like it saucy. For others, it's gotta be crispy. But everyone loves the flavor that brings us together. And whether you like it spicy or old school, you'll like it even more. Because Zaxby's 5 fan favorites are now just $5.99 each. Friends, family, flavor. Zaxby's.
If you bank at Frost, we'll help keep your money safe. If you use your Frost debit card, the chip will make it more secure. If there's a suspicious transaction on your card, you'll get an alert. If you do, you can freeze your card with the Frost app. If you lose your phone, Touch ID login will help keep the app secure. Of course, if all you need is help from people who care, we've got that too.
Chop the feet, break down, and explode. All right, here we go. Set. Hit. Good, Armin. Good.
Welcome back to Hawks Football Weekly. I'm Brant Freeman along with Canyon Lake head coach Charlie Drum. Again, the Hawks open up the season this Friday against the Blanco Panthers. We'll get more into that game in just a bit. But first, Coach, a look at the 2017 schedule as a whole and looking at your 6 non-district games. You'll play a couple of Austin area schools, again in Aikens and in Reagan. Wimberley is in there. As you look at these 6 games, how well will they prepare you for your 14-4A schedule?
I like our non-district schedule. We went 4-2 and were challenged last year. We open up with Blanco, who's a run-heavy team. It's going to test our manhood a little bit. Then Austin Reagan, who's got some athletes, throw the ball around the field a little bit, and that'll test our open field tackling, which we have an emphasis on this year. And then we head into 2 top 10 rated teams in 4A Division II with Giddings and Wimberley, which we lost to last year. So we definitely got them circled on our schedule, especially Wimberley being 10, 12 miles down the road.
I mentioned the 2 Austin schools you'll play. Both of them are higher classifications, 5A and 6A. How big of an opportunity is that for a 4A team like yours?
Well, it's a great opportunity. A lot of people don't want to play higher classifications because of the depth issue, but it really gives us a chance to play, different levels. A lot of times we'll play 2 JV games against those higher classifications or 2 freshman games or mix a team, but it's definitely a challenge depth-wise because they have a lot more kids in their school and they have a lot more kids on their football team.
Right. So as I mentioned, 6 non-district games. That means you only play 4 14-4 games. This is a tiny district, only 5 teams in it. Your opener won't be until October the 13th. Right. There's not much room for error in district play, is there? No, and especially when you got Fredericksburg, Taylor, Bernie. We had dogfights with Taylor and Bernie last year. I mean, any one of those 3 teams could have won the district. It just happened Taylor won 2 close games against ourselves and Bernie, and it's going to be the same this year. All the teams have a lot of kids coming back, including ourselves. I want to highlight that game from a year ago. It was the season finale, 50-44 game. You're not going to find many more exciting than that. Taylor, though, was the one that pulled it out at the very end, scoring the go-ahead touchdown with under a minute to go. Do you get the sense that since you closed the season against the Ducks again this year, the district title could come down to the final game again? I'm sure the seedings will, if not the district championship. We want it that way. Our slogan this year in the offseason was finish. And obviously from that game, to finish that last minute or 2 and win our first district championship as a football team. When you look at non-district schedules in high school football, they change a lot from year to year. But with the exception of you, though, Blanco has been an opponent you've played every season to open a football season. No different this year as you play them this upcoming Friday. A year ago, you beat the Panthers 40-7. That snapped a 3-game losing streak in the rivalry series. What are you expecting out of the game this Friday? Other than that game last year, and I think 2 or 3 years ago, they beat us by 3 or 4 touchdowns. The games have been decided by a touchdown or less. So we expect a dogfight. They're well coached over there, tough kids, kind of what we preach. So usually it's a low-scoring game, and it usually comes down to who doesn't make a mistake in the 4th quarter. So we expect a dogfight, just like always with Blanco. Now, you mentioned you have a lot of players back this season, but you have some fresh faces, some new faces as well heading into the open on Friday. What are you telling them to expect when they take the field for a varsity football game for the first time? Well, we tell them, the speed is much faster. Things move. Hopefully that nucleus of seniors has been preaching to our younger guys that what to expect, and if you make a mistake, you're not gonna freak out. Everyone's gonna make mistakes, especially early in the season, and to overcome that adversity. Well, Coach, looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking with you throughout the 2017 season. All right, thank you, Brant. All right, that again, Canyon Lake head coach Charlie Drum. This is Hawks Football Weekly. Again, Canyon Lake will open up the 2017 season this Friday at 7:30 at home against the Blanco Panthers. For Coach Drum, I'm Brant Freeman. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch up with you again next week.